So the short of it is that technology, that we should trust in scientists and economists. In other words, trust in the experts, because they're using these higher intelligence computer models that are telling us that we're going to run out of food, we're going to run out of resources, we're going to run out of technology, and we're going to become overly polluted. And so we're being told that society will terminate by 2040 if we don't allow the intelligence of technology to bail us out. Hey there, welcome back to our channel. We're not just talking about how things are worse than we thought. I'm going to shed some light on some of the ideas that are on the internet that want us to feel like society is doomed. I just watched a video that was so compelling. It was so compelling that I need to share my thoughts and dispel some of the misinformation that is being put out. As usual, welcome to our channel. That's what we do. If it's going to affect the life we were meant to live and want to be living, then I'm going to be dispelling the myths and helping you wade our way through this. So the idea is that we're looking at history and we're being told that, look, empires have always fallen and societies have collapsed. We have a history of it, and regardless whether some last longer than others, the eventual outcome is that they all fall. And then we're told the reasons they fall are typically related to political issues, social and cultural issues, environmental issues, and economic issues. Well, duh. Is there anything left? The thing is that all of those issues are really related to what is not being told in the videos and in the information, and that is that it's a stewardship issue. But even so, the stewardship issue needs context. So then it goes on to say how much better our lives are because of technology, and how much technology has done for us, and how even just an average person today, because of technology, has a much better life than, say, a king had back in the day without technology. And in many ways, that's true. For example, a king may have lived in palaces, but he wouldn't have had air conditioning and internet and automatic temperature controls and just all of this technological innovation that makes our lives so sweet, even if we're just median folk as opposed to someone like a king. And while that's all true, the other side of that story is technology has also brought us surveillance, control, censure, misinformation, and more gaslighting possible over the masses than ever before. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. You know it's true. The next thing I really had to scoff at, and again, when we look at this information that's out there, if we don't have a well-rounded view, it's very easy to get sucked into this. It gets on this train in order to make a point of how much, almost saying without saying it, that we should almost like worship technology. See if you don't think so. The next question was, who's the richest person historically throughout all of history in the world? And it said Elon Musk, but that's not really true or correct. King Solomon was much wealthier and richer than Elon Musk is today. So right there we're being told misinformation, which is bingo. What did I just say? And so the video makes this ongoing thought, makes it sound really intelligent, but for those of us that know better, not really. And so I bring the information to you to, according to the principle of where there's freedom of information, there is liberty, something like that. The Patrick Henry quote, and I'm saying wrong. I'm sure you can correct me on that quote. I have so many quotes and so much stuff in my head that it just all becomes a blur sometimes. The next thought that the video tells us is that we're living in the most peaceful era in history. But is that really correct? Now, if we are to count that solely by number of wars, there could be something to that. Because back in history, you had a lot more, you had just more numerous small kingdoms and villages that perhaps could have had conflict. But we see that there's no shortage of warmongering in USA at all. As we see in the headlines, this is a very untimely thought to be putting out, that we live in the most peaceful. And the way I see it is that the way that this incorrect thought is perpetrated is because for people in North America, wars haven't really been on their own soil, and so there hasn't really hit home the fact that they really have been at war. And if you're in a state of war, aren't you at war? If you're in a state of emergency and emergency measures and curtailed liberties and freedoms, then aren't you at war? And so I don't even have to mention how many tens of millions of people died in World War I and II, because what about all of the people that died that didn't necessarily pick up any arms and go shoot at someone, but they died because of incorrect government policy that caused starvation? There was a huge starvation at the turn of the last century in Ireland, and this was all because of, I've made a different video about this, it was all government policy. They could have avoided it, and there was no food. And it could have been easily avoided by importing food from North America, and the government just chose not to do it, and many people died. So is that peaceful when government policy causes famines where tens of millions of people? And what about in China in the 50s, where over 50 million people died of starvation? I mean, these people cannot be forgotten, and we cannot sit here and believe what we're told, that we live in the most, that this era has been the most peaceful time in history, and trying to make it sound like the reason is technology. And let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. The video goes on to tell us that we should trust in computer models, which obviously emanate from technology, because they're able to lay out all these different scenarios that, gee whiz, we're just not smart enough to do, because the computer is just so much smarter. And it does all of these scenarios, and it tells us, well, gee, it looks like technology is going to plateau here by 2040, and that's going to be the end of society and culture. And so we're being told that society will terminate by 2040 if we don't allow the intelligence of technology to bail us out. And we're kind of in a soft persuasion mode, being told, look, the richest man in the world of our era is an electricity and a technology guy, so that means something. And of course that wasn't true either. So the short of it is that technology, that we should trust in scientists and economists. In other words, trust in the experts, because they're using these higher intelligence computer models that are telling us that we're going to run out of food, we're going to run out of resources, we're going to run out of technology, and we're going to become overly polluted. But what I see in my personal experience is that I've lived abroad for 12 years, and I've been all over the globe. And what I see is mismanagement of resources. Mismanagement. When your septic water is dumped in the bay here, right, that's mismanagement, that's pollution, and it causes illness. So this isn't like an isolated incident that has just happened here. This is a wholesale, large scale, you could literally say almost global mismanagement of resources. And then we're being blamed for it and being told that we need to accept the new world envisioned by the collectivists. And you'd be amazed. This was happening in Italy, it's happening here, it happened in Ecuador. I was present at the very time that those things happened, and I saw it with my own eyes. And it was, in some cases, common knowledge, where people were discussing it all over the web in the local area. So it's not my opinion or hearsay. And that's another thing that the video is attempting to tell us, is that what are you going to do? You're going to believe some guy's opinion, or are you going to trust in the science and the technology? And this is just a way to get people away from the truth, which is based on facts. And so that's what I just told you, is that mismanagement comes down to proper stewardship, and proper stewardship comes down to belief, as we are told that the creation of man was to put him in the garden and that he should take care of the garden and be a proper steward. And so we individually have a responsibility, not collective. We have a challenge here with proper stewardship, which comes down to individual choices as opposed to collective top-down decisions, which have never worked in the past. They never worked in communist Russia, and they obviously don't work in any of these places where there are top-down decision-making that are literally just destroying the environment. And so, but we're made to feel that we are personally responsible. I didn't personally dump septic in the bay here. And I didn't do it in Italy, and I didn't do it in Ecuador. That was a government decision. It's almost as if there's this global conspiracy to pollute the earth and then blame us so they can cram this new ideology down our throats. But no, that's a conspiracy theory. I don't think so. What do you think? In the absence of that, though, clearly it is a collective, global, negligent mismanagement of resources. So, but we're being told that the collective top-down decision-making system is what we're supposed to trust in. So let me know your thoughts on that. I'm glad you stayed with the video. I try not to get too heavy and give you something to look forward to, because we can take care of the planet ourselves. We can take care of the environment as individuals and as a community, and we can focus on what is truth and what is fact, and we can separate that from fiction and misinformation, and the misinformation that is being spread around by the technology, the very technology that we are being asked to trust in. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for coming to the channel. Have a wonderful day.